listening to an audio article by the Common Constitutionalist. Today's article is entitled, Are the Pipe Bombs a Legitimate Threat or a False Flag Event? Leftist media outlets from the New York Times to CNN and everyone in between are describing the recipients of these pipe bombs as Trump critics. Gee, I wonder why that is. It must be that it's the only thing they all have in common. Yeah, that must be it. It harkens me back to the 2012 Aurora, Colorado theater shooting, in which Brian Ross of ABC News jumped to the conclusion that the shooter, James Holmes, must have been a distraught right-wing Tea Party nut. Of course, he was far from it, but the worldview of leftist Ross clouded his ability for dispassionate reporting. Now, to be sure, all the bomb recipients hate Trump, but they were also all wacky leftists before Trump took office. They were all power-hungry control freaks prior to Trump being elected, still are. In fact, they all have numerous things in common, all bad. But regardless of their animus toward Trump, they certainly don't deserve to be terrorized by an explosive sent to them in the mail, and the assumption is that that's what happened. MSNBC reports that, quote, according to WNBC chief investigative reporter Jonathan Dienst, investigators believe that all the pipe bomb packages were sent through the mail and were possibly mailed from Florida, unquote. And Jonathan is the chief investigative reporter, so there's no way he'd get this simple assumption wrong. So the first thing I and others noticed was the lack of postmarking on the envelopes. Now, I'm no postmaster, but I'm pretty sure that every stamped envelope that goes through the mail system receives a U.S. Postal Service postmark. None of the packages I saw appeared to have one. I've received plenty of padded envelopes in the mail over the years and don't recall any of them showing up without a postmark. The reason they postmark stamped envelopes and packages is to prevent the recipients from reusing the stamps, but that's just the packaging. Inside the packages was a meme showing a picture of something similar to a black ISIS flag imprinted with the immortal words of Larry the Cable Guy, "Get her done." Now there's proof positive that those bombs were made by a right-wing Trump supporter. I mean, who else could it be, right? Then there's the pipe bomb itself. To call it amateurish is an understatement. As Glenn Beck said on his Thursday radio morning show, it's as if the bombs were sent by Wile E. Coyote, and if I'm not mistaken, the bomb casing was imprinted with Acme Bomb Company. Beck said the only thing missing was a pile of birdseed. I would add that also possibly a piano delivered with a sign saying, "Learn to play the piano free." Pipe bombs are constructed using threaded galvanized steel pipe to cause shrapnel when the explosives inside ignite under pressure. These were made from PVC, polyvinyl chloride, a type of plastic. More than likely the plastic would melt and mitigate any shrapnel damage. The pipes, at least in some cases, were filled with shards of glass rather than nails or ball bearings. Regardless of their original size, the glass upon detonation would likely be turned to dust, rendering most of it relatively harmless. Then there's the timer. Taped to the plastic pipe was an oversized LCD timer. Now, just as I am not a postmaster, I am also not a pipe bomb expert, but I do possess a little common sense. So I asked myself, why would one send a timed explosive device through the U.S. mail? Myself had an answer. You wouldn't, for obvious reasons. To me and many others, these pipe bombs look more like something you might see in a made-for-TV movie with an oversized timer for dramatic effect, large enough for the audience to see as the hero disarms it with only seconds to spare. These bombs may turn out to be a legitimate threat, but none of the recipients go through their own mail. They are all filtered through a mailroom or security staff. And to look at the amateurish build of them, it all looks a little fishy and possibly contrived. I guess we'll just have to wait and see. Thank you for listening.